So back in the 1950s, a building in New York had a problem. Tenants were furious about how long the elevators took, but they couldn't actually make the elevators faster. So instead, get this, they installed full-length mirrors in the lobby. That's it. That was the fix. Here's the fascinating part. The complaints about the wait basically disappeared because people got distracted by looking at themselves in the mirror. On the elevator, it didn't get any faster. Just nobody was thinking about the wait anymore, right? They were too busy checking for spinach in their teeth. And I've often wondered why I always see mirrors outside of elevators in lobbies. And now I know. So this story just is fascinating to me because what it implies is that the actual length of a wait matters less than what you're doing or thinking while you're in it, right? There's actually a field of study built around this. It's called chronemics. The idea that time itself communicates something. How long something takes, how a wait is handled, all of it sends a message and a signal, right? I got into this in a video a while back on slow marketing. And if you want to watch it, I'll link it in the description if you're interested. But technically, when you think about it, those mirrors, they weren't changing the amount of time you waited for an elevator, right? So what was happening? Well, they were changing what people were paying attention to while they were waiting for it. There's a phrase that's been floating around in business circles for a while now. It's called customer delight. It's actually trending on Google Trends. I checked it out. But anyway, you've probably heard it. The idea is that just satisfying someone isn't enough anymore, right? You need to surprise them. You need to exceed their expectations or create little wow moments in the customer journey, right? And the reasoning behind it makes total sense, right? A customer who's just satisfied, right, might leave the second something cheaper or more convenient comes along. But a delighted customer, they stick around. They come back and then they tell other people, right? I do think this is effective. Delight builds loyalty in a way that plain satisfaction doesn't. But I dived down a rabbit hole and check this out. There's a well-known customer service study that found something that runs a little counter to how most businesses think about customer delight. Making an experience delightful barely moves customer loyalty, right? Who would have thought? Making it easy, so removing the friction, removing the effort, moves it enormously, or at least enough to be significant. Businesses that made things hard for a customer saw huge numbers of people become disloyal. But businesses that made things easy barely lost anyone. Wow moment or not. There wasn't even delight. It was just easy. So people aren't really looking to be impressed, according to this research. They just want it to be easy. I mean, don't we all want everything to be easy, right? The obvious example of where easy is not easy, right, is the phone call where you have to explain your problem to a robot, then an agent, then get transferred and explain it all over again to a real life human. That's a big company problem, but some small businesses create their own version of this, and it's a little more subtle. Though here's one that I've noticed, even in my own business. A lot of service providers, myself included at one point, won't give any kind of price until someone books a discovery call. The intention behind that makes sense, and it's actually kind of good if you really think about it. You want to understand the project or the client or whatever issue that they have, and you want to build rapport. You want to avoid a mismatch before you're both wasting any time, right? But from the other side, from the customer side, that's an unexpected hoop to jump through. Someone who just wanted a quick ballpark number to orient themselves, right, instead has to find a time slot. They have to show up live, right? They have to sit through a conversation just to find out if they can even afford you. So even a rough number, like shared before that call, either on a website or through an email, changes something about that interaction. It doesn't replace the call. I still think that conversation matters and should probably happen, but it lets someone decide whether they want that call in the first place, instead of the call being the only way to find out, right? Which is a strange thing to notice about small businesses, because the same closeness that usually works in our favor, right? Being personal, being relationship driven, when you talk to someone on the phone, is exactly what creates the friction here. So the fix seems obvious at this point, right? Remove the friction, make everything instant and easy, right? Except there's a study that complicates that even, right? Researchers at Harvard built a fake travel booking site. It's a website. And now this was interesting to me because I know that best practices in web development includes creating as little friction as possible online, right? So this was super interesting to me. But half the people using this fake website got their flight search results instantly. The other half had to wait. And while they waited, they watched a little animation that said, searching hundreds of airlines, right? That kind of thing. You've probably seen that. The actual results were identical both times. The same flights, same prices, same everything, right? But people preferred and valued the version that made them wait and showed them the work, right? Perceived value came in about 8% higher, even though nothing about the outcome changed. And it isn't just travel sites. Harvard researchers found something similar looking at real data from a City of Boston app. This app was the one that residents use to report things like potholes and other things that are happening on the streets and other problems that are happening in the infrastructure or on the streets. The city didn't change any of its repair work. They just added a way for people to see the effort that was already happening. And trust in city government actually went up. If that effect shows up in something as bureaucratic as government, I kind of feel like it's probably not a marketing gimmick, right? It's revealing something real about human behavior and trust. So in looking at this, I'm like, what is it? Like, is friction good or is friction bad? I'm trying to figure this out. I don't think it's really about friction at all, though. I think what it boils down to is whether someone understands why they're waiting and whether that feels worth it, right? So take, for example, the phone menu that we all get stuck in from time to time. It doesn't work, but not just because it wastes your time, but because nobody's explaining to you why the wait is taking so long. And the discovery call, right, for the small business owners isn't really the problem, right? A ballpark price upfront hands someone their own time back. And when a call really is necessary, showing them why it matters is what makes that time worth spending instead of a hoop that they have to jump through, right? So there's a reason for all of this, and it goes a little deeper than customer service. Our brains seem to treat knowing what's about to happen as its own reward, right? Separate from whether the outcome is even good, right? People will give up something valuable just to reduce uncertainty about the future, even when the information changes nothing about what actually happens next, right? So predictability isn't just pleasant. It seems to be something we're wired to want. I did a whole video a while back on the Edelman Trust Barometer, the annual survey that found small businesses are trusted more than big public companies right now. And I'll link that video in the description if you want the fuller picture on that. So trust is shifting right now toward small business. And the real advantage isn't the wow moment or delighting customers. Right now, it's just being honest about why someone's waiting and making sure whatever's on the other side of that wait is worth their time. So reliable instead of remarkable. That's the whole thing, really. So if you've noticed friction like this in your business, the kind you didn't realize you were creating, I'd be curious to hear. Drop it in the comments. I'm genuinely curious what this looks like for your business. And if you want to dive down even more rabbit holes, you can check out this video. So that's it, kids. That's all I've got for you today. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.